Wouldn't you love it if you can just build muscle with one set, one time a week? That's what the high intensity method offers you. It's a systematic approach to low volume, getting in and out in the gym, and seeing the best freaking gains you've ever seen in your life. But does it actually work? Does any training philosophy hold a candle to the illustrious HIT programs? I'm going to do all the pros and cons of it, a little bit of history on it. We're going to dive into that. So, first and foremost, you're here because you're seeking knowledge on the subject, obviously, or you wouldn't have clicked. So I did the same thing. I was in a training rut, and I decided, man, I need to do something different. I've always knew about Mike Mentzer, and I really just knew about him because of the rest pause training. Like, always heard he would go to failure, rest 15 seconds, do 2 more, rest 15 seconds, 2 more. And that's just one tiny principle / derivative that he used to train with. But it still attracted me and intrigued me. So I looked up one of his 2-hour seminars. I think it's still on YouTube. I think a lot of people have seen that by now. But that was a really good logical demonstration and presentation from him. And it's honestly kind of boring. It's kind of droll. It's 2 hours long. It's filled with philosophical jargon you're probably not going to be too fond of. It takes its toll listening to it, but you cannot argue with the logic behind it. There's no arguing this. So there's 3 principles to high intensity training, right? Number 1, of course, is intensity. You have to train to failure. Okay? There's no middle ground. A is A. Go to failure. Do it. That's the principle. Number 2 is your volume, the number. So you're going to be doing one set to failure. Okay? It sounds too good to be true. And is it? We're going over it. And number 3 is going to be the frequency at which you train, how often. Okay? So how much rest in between these brutal, all-out one set exercises. Okay? So in the training the Mike Mentzer way, there's like two or three programs in that book. And I've tried every single program from Mike Mentzer and ran it for a few months each at a time. Okay? And the frequency he recommends is about 72 hours off to 96 hours off. So 3, 4, or 5 days. And even in his consolidation program, he recommends you taking 7 days off. A whole week. A week. So if you train on Saturday, you're not training until the next Saturday. Not only that, it's a different set of muscle groups. Okay, so you would hit that body part or movement. He was a movement guy, not a body part guy. You would hit that movement only twice a month. Okay, so the consolidation program was essentially a close grip, palms up, pull downs, and I believe a squat. How's the 2 movements you did that day? That's it. The logic there was you're hitting 80% of your muscles with those 2 movements. And technically you are. Okay, but we'll get into this. In the next 7 days, you're resting 7 days and then doing this one. You're not waiting till you're recovered necessarily. You're waiting 7 days. Okay, and the next workout was dips and deadlift. Again, on paper, those 2 movements hit 80% of your body. So combining these 4 movements, most of your body's covered. That was his logic. And the consolidation program was reserved for the people that aren't seeing any progress doing anything. So even if you're doing his program and your normal program and you're not seeing results, the consolidation program is for the people that are like, he called them the slow of the genetic pool, to put it nicely. right? So everyone exists on a bell curve as far as recovery goes. So if you're on the slow side of it, that's the program he'd put you on. So if you did a workout with him and you didn't recover within 72 hours, he put another day on it. If you didn't recover then, another day. Didn't recover then, another day. And if you're at a week of rest and you're not recovering and getting stronger the next workout, he'd put you on the consolidation program. So you're doing 8 sets a freaking month. It's wild, okay? And I've done that. I've ran that program, okay? And I know you're thinking, dude, just tell me if it works or not. But I'm getting to it, okay? It's nuanced, okay? I loved it. I love HIIT. I still do. I still use a lot of its principles, okay? Like, the logic is so freaking sound, okay? So the logic with the intensity is if one set was enough, why would you do 2? If one set stimulated enough muscle growth and things to happen, like you turn on a switch, you don't need to keep flipping the switch, right? You hit the dynamite, you don't need to hit it again. That type of logic. Why would you need to do another one? The logic is so sound with that. And that's what attracted me to it, man. I'm a logical guy. I'm mathematical and calculatory or whatever, calculative, whatever. Clearly, I'm not good with words, but I love hearing it in a philosophical way. Okay, so logically, it made sense to me that, okay, well, your body works in a certain way. So if I stimulate it a certain way and not annihilate it, it'll grow. And if you rest long enough, you'll build the adaptation to get stronger next time. And that works. That's the fundamental of all training programs. So this is nothing new. You're just getting into the weeds of it. So if your volume is low, your intensity is high, so you got to train to failure. Okay, you can't leave anything on the table. Okay, you got to train to momentary muscular failure. MMF, mofos. Okay, that's what you got to do. You can't sugarcoat it. You can't freaking pansy ass it. You gotta freaking go to failure. If you don't, it won't work as well. Okay, like you got to earn the rest, so to speak. That's how all of this works. And then if you don't rest enough, you won't grow enough. If you don't rest enough, you won't be strong the next workout. That again is also true no matter what program you're running. So all of these 3 principles of high intensity training work on every single program. Okay, these are fundamental facts of lifting, training, getting better in the gym. That is what it is. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm running it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it its go. And I freaking loved it because I was actually seeing progress in the gym as far as weight on the bar goes. Like every single time I could go in, I would train to failure to 1 set. The next time I would train that same body part or same movement, I could increase either reps or weight each time going in. So strength was never an issue. And going even further into my high intensity training career, I should say, it would be hard to add even 1 rep to some sets. I mean, it was getting to a point where I was hitting a wall. And Mike said, you should never have to hit a wall. Okay, so that's another claim with the high intensity I don't like. He said, if you're doing it this route, you will not hit a wall because you're recovering 5 to 6 days a week. So I trusted him. I ran with that. And every single time toward the end there, it was hard for me just to even muster another improvement, another rep, another 2 pounds, something. And it got to the point where I just couldn't progress my upper body moves anymore doing high intensity. Now legs, I can always do 5 to 10 pounds improvements every time. That's just me. That's what I found out works for me, even in just regular volume training too. So there's errors, okay? I love it. I was a HIIT fan, cult. I was a HIIT cult guy. Like, you couldn't get me off the subject. You couldn't. If we're going to debate about training, I was ready to put all on the line. I was going to freaking win it. Okay. I did hours and countless research and put most of my personal training clients through it as well. And I have all the documentation from hours of in-person training clients with high intensity protocols. And it does work. It does work. But not forever, not for long. It's not for everyone. It has its flaws. Okay? That's just where we are at with it. I love it. Well, you got to take, there's certain things from certain philosophies you got to take and use and like and adapt them to other things that you use and like. Okay? So most of my training now is still in the high intensity fundamentals, right? I still love training close to or at failure. I still take 4 days off a week, and I still do pretty much low volume. Like my weekly sets per body part's like 8 to 10. It's low. Okay. So I adapted and found out what works for me based on those principles. So I am still forever in debt to Mike Mentzer's high intensity, or Drew Bay's. I did his for a while. I did Dorian's high intensity for a while. There's a lot of people that utilize this high intensity and claim it's the way or the highway. And for a while there, I was going to die on that hill. I was going to die on the high intensity hill. Like there was no budging in my mind that this is the way to train, the only way to train, the only valid theory of exercise science ever was this. And I had it, man. And I wanted to share it with everyone. I wanted to scream into the world, everyone should be doing high intensity. Only one set you need, man. Why are you wasting so much time in the gym? It's counterproductive. I was going nuts with it. Okay? More nuts than pretty much anyone you could think of, man. I dove in. I can't express that enough, how deeply enthralled I was by this training plan and program and philosophy and theory. I was freaking into it. Anyone who knows me at the time, I've had conversations with friends and annoyed them, and people freaking tell me I was dumb. And I mean, just trust me, I went to the deep end with it. Okay. I lived there. I was molded by it. Okay. That being said, I also know what it's like to die on the hill, because I decided if you're on the hill and you die there, you don't get to experience anything else. You're just on the hill. It's just you. So I had to come down. And when I came down from the hill, that's when everything changed. That's when I knew that you have to learn certain things from certain places and add them to other things in other places. And that's when you build your own hybrid of a program. So eventually, you got to build your own stuff, do your own thing. It's the whole point of being your own exercise scientist, is you got to find out what works for you. But in doing that, you have to try everything. And for a while there, I was on the hill that I'm not going to change my training ever again. And how sad would have that been? That would have sucked if I stayed on that high intensity hill, because then I wouldn't try anything new. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I wouldn't have the progress I have that I have now. And I grew more once I added more volume and more sets in. And that broke my heart, because I thought the high intensity way was the only way. I was told that the high intensity way was the only valid theory of training, and I believed it because the logic was sound. But why didn't the logic work? Why didn't the fundamentals work when they're so logically backed? And my idea what that is is sometimes humans defy logic. And I hate saying that. That puts so much dissonance in my brain. But we push the boundaries of what logic is. Right? Because in theory, if you rested 1 week, did a set of deadlifts, added 10 pounds, did a set of deadlifts, and the rest of the week added 10 pounds, did a set of deadlifts, rest of the week, you could do that forever. You could keep going week after week, month after month, year after year, and keep adding 10 pounds a week to your deadlift. And by the end of it, you've beaten Eddie Hall and Thor's deadlift record in years. But that's just not how it works. We know that fundamentally. That's just not how it works. There's got to be a stopping point. And I think with HIIT, you hit it really fast. You hit that. Your progress at first is so smooth and it goes up really high, and then it just boom, done. Can't get another rep. Same weight, boom, done. Can't budge anything, boom, done. And why is that? Why can't we run one program forever and it not work the way we want it to, despite the people purporting it and claiming it are our idols and heroes? So did it work? Was it worth it? Yes and no. Unfortunately, the answer is yes and no. I also wanted to state that Mike Mentzer himself was a genetic anomaly. I'm going to put his picture of when he was 19 on the screen. Okay? Look at this. 19. Okay? You think he was doing high intensity at 19? You think he was following any plans at 19? At 19, I wasn't. I wasn't following nothing. All right? I was just going in and lifting heavy, man, because I was 19 with angst and anger, and dude, so I went and lifted, man. I needed to do it. And I'm sure he was in that same ballpark. Him and Ray, him and his brother were freaking genetic freaks, okay? So a lot of genetic freaks get behind the HIIT because it will work for them, but also they already built their body beforehand. Okay? 80 to 90% of their gains happened before they adopt these training philosophies and tell other people to do them. So is it a charlatan move to do that? That's up for you to decide. You know, but even Arnold had most of his size, I think, before he even came to the States. So all these guys had 80 to 90% of their size before they even hopped on stage, man. It's freaking nuts. Freaking nuts. Okay? This is why they're Olympians. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Okay? I did want to throw this bit in there. What did my clients ever end up seeing from the high intensity training principles I put them on? So my clients, you got to understand, I was personal training up through the Y, okay? So was I getting the best of the best genetic pool of people? No. I was not getting the world-class athletes, world-class bodybuilders. I was getting the middle-aged, life of crisis, midlife crisis gentlemen, middle-aged housewives, the people that never trained before besides when they just turned 40 and knew they needed to switch something up. Okay, that's who I was training. Okay, so honestly, it was a good experience because that's most people. Most people aren't these genetic anomalies you see online all the time. You have a skewed idea and view of the world if you think everyone is this massive genetic anomaly walking down the street. Like, people are just people, okay? We're just people with ideas that have a bit of muscle, okay? And these people, I'll let you take a guess on what their goal was. Guess what it was? Freaking weight loss, right? They don't give a shit how jacked they look. It's weight loss. Getting tone. Looking better for their spouse if they still have one. Okay? That's it. That's all people care about. Normal people, okay? They're not worried about their bicep circumference, okay? It just doesn't. It's not what people care about. Okay, so if you're training general pop like I was and putting them through high intensity, they had fun with it. Why? It appeals to the masses. Why? It's minimal work with the claim that there's more results. Okay? And that's awesome. It does work that way. Okay? So most people, I would have them do a program based on Body by Science. Okay? The big five, so to speak. Okay? So some kind of leg press, a chest press, a pull down, a row, and some other pulls. I'm like did I say pull already? An overhead press. Yeah, that's it. So some kind of squat or leg press, a row, a pull up, a chest press, and overhead. Okay? We would do one set to failure, rest about a minute, jump on the other machine or the movement, one set to failure. And they would be in and out with 15 minutes. We'd spend the other 15 minutes talking about diet, nutrition, their life, blah, 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 the typical thing a trainer does. Okay? And they saw results like that, all right? They were able to jump 5 to 10 pounds per session, per time, maybe an extra rep here and there. If their recovery wasn't that good or they didn't eat well that week, maybe it was just 5 pounds or like maybe 1 rep. But they were seeing results in the gym. Okay, that's what brought them back to me. Okay, they knew they could come back and do something they haven't done before. It was fun to them. It was novel. Okay. So for the serious gym bro, this stuff, or the serious genetic athlete, it doesn't appeal to them. Like, I've done that before, right? Like, they're handling weights where you're not adding 5 to 10 pounds each time. Okay, so for general population and just overall health, fantastic freaking program. Such a big fan of it. It works. Okay, but for intermediate, advanced, Olympic lifts, athletes, it's not the best. Okay, it is not the best training principle for them. But for the most and the majority of people, it's a great starting point and will tip you to intermediate levels very, very fast. Okay. His other idea on recovery was the bigger and stronger you are, the more rest and recovery you need. So if you're getting bigger and stronger, you need more than a week off. He claimed some people rested 7, 8, 9, 10 days, man. It's like, what? That's nuts. Now, it's not unheard of because Tom Platz used to say he only squatted twice a month. But we all know how he was squatting. No normal person's doing that. Okay? It's not happening like that. So all these results like this don't exist in vacuums, okay? It's so individual. It's so based on their goals. But for someone starting out, it's a great program. Learn from it. Use and learn the fundamentals. It's a great starting point to training, actually. So I do recommend it for that. But staying on there, dying on the hill, I don't recommend it. I did. But I guess it propelled me to this learning experience. So I guess just do you. Find out what works for you. Some people are still dying on that hill, right? All the hit guys you see, they're stuck on the hill, man. And they won't come down from it. Even if they look good, they're probably genetic anomalies too. It's not an excuse. I'm just saying. Or maybe I wasn't exactly doing it right. But I feel like I always do everything right. Training-wise anyway. But that's just my ego talking. That's probably completely wrong. I probably don't do anything in the gym right. Let's just be real about that. But I appreciate you guys coming into the rant. Hopefully that answered some questions on my experience with HIIT. And I appreciate you guys. The next one is coming out soon, so stay tuned for that.